Welcome. It's Tuesday, August 14th. My name's Stephen Carter. I'm the Planning Section Chief. We'll get started with this morning's briefing with weather from Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Good morning, everybody. Looks like today will kind of be a transitional day for us, and see if I can actually do this with one hand. The upper level low pressure system that we've been kind of dealing with for the last couple of days kind of looks like a giant hurricane that's moving up into the Central Plains right now. And you can see the clouds streaming across portions of Texas. And with those clouds, well, this is more challenging than I thought. With those clouds comes some rain. Looks like basically from I-20 northward is where the best concentration of rain is this morning, and we expect that rain to lift out through the day with pretty much clearing skies from south to north. All right, the precipitation ending at 6 a.m., the 24-hour precipitation, shows pretty good swath of rain basically in the corridor from the Trans-Pecos all the way up to northeast Texas. One thing I will note, though, is there actually are some pockets up around northwest of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex that didn't receive more than a half an inch of rain. So there are some dry areas out there. And basically anything in green is a half inch or less, and anything yellow or red is pretty much 3/4 of an inch to over 2 inches in some places. This is the map of 72-hour precipitation, and pretty much the same trends, although you can see it's filled in down in South Texas and the hill country, but still seeing some pockets in there. And some of those areas, like I said, northwest of the Metroplex, they're still areas that are in extreme drought, or severe drought. So they're, they still could be quite dry. And that's just some totals around the area, and all I want to point out there is just there were some big winters out there with 2 to 4 inches in some places. So. All right, so the highlights for today, basically, like I said, we're going to see decreasing cloudiness. We're going to see warmer temperatures overall. North of I-20, maybe a little bit cooler than what's in your IAP forecast, probably stay in the 80s, but overall I think everybody else will be in the 90s. One thing that will go on today is gusty south winds. And we expect gusts to 25 miles per hour in places, especially along and west of the I-35 corridor. That'll be quite obvious. As far as storm chances go, I think they'll be pulling out of the north pretty quickly, but down in the Gulf Coast we may actually see some sea breeze activity later this afternoon. But overall I think most places are going to stay dry this afternoon. Basically the warming and drying trend will continue through the week, and I don't see much in the way of precipitation probably Wednesday through Saturday. The thunderstorm chances may increase slightly as we head into the weekend, and it looks like maybe even early next week we may get back into an unsettled weather pattern. High temperatures today, like I said, pretty much in the 90s overall, except for maybe up along the Red River into the I-20 corridor, maybe some 80s. All right, let's see, humidities. Pretty good. With all this rain, they're going to be slow to dry out, even though a lot of places are going to heat up. So looks like 35% overall, but maybe some areas that get down into the 20s, especially out in far west Texas. And then there's those afternoon winds I was talking about. Like I said, south 10 to 15 with gusts to 25. East Texas will be the only exception. Winds are usually a little bit lighter out there, and that'll be the case today. So there's your precipitation chances, and most of those precipitation chances are before noon today. I think by this afternoon, with the exception of down in South Texas, everybody else will be dry. And there's our late week and weekend weather pattern. Basically high pressure builds in from the west. That pretty much keeps us in hotter and drier conditions. One thing to note though, the image on there is actually precipitation. When we get in northwest flow events, sometimes we'll get some overnight, early morning activity that'll affect the Panhandle and sometimes Red River County. So that's something to watch out for. So not 100% dry forecast on late week into the weekend, but those northern areas will be the most susceptible. That's all I have. I hope everybody has a great day.
Well, good morning, everyone. Rich Gray in operations. As you can see on the map, light day yesterday, no new starts, and everyone stayed in their home bases yesterday. A couple things real quick. Only a few crew swaps today coming out to the field. For the field staff, we are looking at right sizing. What that means to us as you guys time out, we'll go into demob instead of crew swaps or reorders, with the exception of some critical or needed resources to plug some holes, and we will get with each of the task forces that impacts. So again, no whole-scale demob coming up, but we are right sizing based on that moisture. Wind field's up a little bit today, like Steve said, west of 35, and some of those dry pockets are west of 35. So again, today, make sure you guys are maintaining readiness for IA and then using your time wisely and safely. We also had some movement on aircraft, so I'm going to have Air Ops come up and let you know what's going on with aviation. So thanks. So Nick's going to come up.
Good morning, Nick Holschbach here with Air Ops trainee. So yeah, like what was mentioned, we did have some release and reassignment of aircraft. The Crane took off to California, and we had the K-MAX take off to Montana. That's pretty much leaving us with 2 air attack platforms, one in Abilene, one in Fredericksburg. 6 seats total, 2 each in Abilene, Fredericksburg, and Giddings. We still have the 2 light aircraft, 2 light helicopters, one in Mineral Wells and one in McGregor. And the medium is over in Smithville, and we have our Firehawk over in Cisco. So depending on the weather that's due to forecast, we'll see if we have any more shift of aircraft.
Good morning, John McGee. Well, we heard the weather. It's definitely been dominating the conversation the last couple of days. It's also dictated the operational tempo, both on the ground and in the air. So heads up, it's changing. The weather or the heat, the temperature is going to increase. Keep in mind that the heat index is higher than the temperature, which brings into play heat-related injuries. So heads up out there. As Ops said, many of you have been in your home base. You've been in your staging areas, recuperating, mitigating the cumulative fatigue, etc. So keep your head in the game. Don't get complacent. Don't let boredom creep in and, as Ops said, do something stupid. We've also had another fatality out west, somewhere in California. Don't know more of the details. Nevertheless, just want to remind everybody that there's been about 5 or 6 of them already, and same categories that we've had in the past. There's been a rollover fatality, there's been a driving fatality, and there's been a snag fatality. And what do you guys do the most here in Texas? You drive. So again, I encourage you all, be careful on the highways out there. There's no reason for us to be exceeding the speed limits. Give yourself plenty of time. LCES works in driving. And bottom line, keep an eye on each other. We'll all be back again tomorrow.
Good morning, everyone. Koya from Finance. With these demobes, you may be asked to wait just a little bit when you get here. We may not be able to get right to you, so you may have to wait just a few minutes. Also, I want to tell you a little bit about what it looks like if you've hit the Park Road fire or the 259 fire. Make sure you bring your hotel receipts, any fuel receipts you have, and there will be a little bit lengthy demob for you guys, so make sure you're bringing all your stuff in. It'll make it go faster. If you're a federal engine or you haven't hit a 259 or Park Road fire, then you will not need the receipts, okay? So remember to keep putting your E-numbers, your O-numbers on your equipment, and we will see you through demob. Thanks.
Well, good morning. Les Rogers, IC for the team. Just want to remind everybody that although we've been sitting for 3 or 4 days with the moisture that's come in, we do have a little bit of a change in the weather. You know, a month ago, we didn't have enough resources to staff all the fires we had. And so just keep that in mind as you're sitting there. Think about what you've done. I know that we have some new resources in, but the guys and gals have been sitting out there for a while. Make sure you look and see if you have any open task books, get some different signatures in those things. Use this opportunity while you're down to talk about some of those options in those task books that you might can get signed off. With that, just be safe out there. As safety said, another LODD in Northern California, so just keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers. Thanks. Have a good day.
Well, that concludes this morning's briefing. If you turned your silenced your phones, which I told you not to do, you can turn them back on now, and go out and do great things for the state of Texas. Thanks.